This evening we had what we're calling an assassination attempt against our former president, Donald Trump. It's still an active crime scene. As I mentioned, we have a number of agents on scene. We also are working closely with other federal agencies, our state partners, and our local police partners as well. Again, at this time, we are not prepared to identify who the shooter is. We are close to that identification, and as soon as we are 100% confident in who that individual is, we will share it with the press. With that being said, also, we do not currently have an identified motive, although our investigators are working tirelessly to attempt to identify what that motive was. So again, we're not prepared at this time to provide the identity of the potential shooter. We're in the process of doing the confirmation, and once we have the confirmation, we'll release the name officially to the press. But at this time, we can't give any further information on the potential shooter.
The coroner or his family, or what else needs to be done?
No, it's a matter of doing biometric confirmations. So there was no identification on the individual, as an example. So we're looking at photographs right now, and we're trying to run his DNA and get biometric confirmation on.
Would you be able to comment just what police found left behind? Any possible devices? Did you find any extra guns? Just anything else you'd be willing to comment?
Not at this time. No, we're still in the process of an active investigation. So we'd like to reserve releasing any information like that until we have more facts.
Today, is there any heightened threat level, credible threat level that you guys were aware of more so than what is typical for an event like this?
From the FBI's perspective, no. We did not have any specific threat information related to this event.
Can I ask, you talked about how it happened so quickly, and we know that there is at least 2 casualties, including the gunman at this point, that we're aware of. It could have been a lot worse.
Absolutely.
Are you going to comment more about that and how it was taken care of so quickly?
So I think the credit goes to not only the Secret Service who was on site, but also the state and local partners who were there on site and were able to react immediately when the incident occurred.
Do you know how many officers fired their weapons?
I do not.
I understand that it's very early and there's still going to be a lot of questions, but I mean, is this a failure of security?
Really, at this point, we're not going to make that assessment. There's an active investigation. A lot of things need to occur investigatively to make those determinations of what, if any, failures there were. So we can't comment on that at this time.
So you can't say if Secret Service had checked those buildings, or we're keeping a close eye, or
Really have to defer to Secret Service for those questions.
Was there any law enforcement at the AGR property prior to the event? And were there police at that location at any point during the event?
Are you saying the location where the shooter was located?
Yes.
I don't have any information on that. You'd have to refer to Secret Service.
when do you think you will release? When will the name of the shooter be released? I mean, any inkling of when that might happen? Tomorrow, or?
So that'll be, as soon as we've confirmed 100%, we're willing to release that. So if we have, as far as the contact information for the press, we should be able to do that within the next few hours, I imagine.
I'm sorry. So there was a vehicle being checked not far from here. We've also heard of a possible related scene in Bethel Park. Is there anything you can tell us tonight about other areas where law enforcement may be searching in relation to this event?
Again, right now we're tracking down all leads and doing all interviews and tracking anything that we can regarding suspicious locations, vehicles, locations, interviewing individuals. So it's all related to this event, but I can't confirm or deny anything that's going on beyond that.
You said the FBI weapon that the shooter used.
As far as the details of the weapon?
Yeah, what kind of rifle was
you want to
that?
come on?
What did he use?
Okay, until we have the confirmation of who the shooter is, and we'll release that as part of the investigative details later.
You said
Why is
that
that?
you are deploying extra resources, and one of the things that you said was bomb technicians. So is this standard procedure, or do you have reason to believe that there are bombs somewhere in Butler County? I'm just wondering, can you just walk us through that?
It's primarily standard procedure of any suspicious packages. In this case, there was identification of suspicious packages around where the shooter was, and so we deployed, in an abundance of caution, bomb assets to make sure that those were cleared for investigators to
They're
move
cleared
safely
now?
in the area.
Okay.
We're still working on, it's still an active crime scene, so I'm not going to say that the scene is 100% clear at this time.
Why are there any Secret Service agents here right now for this press conference?
So Secret Service wasn't available for the press conference at this time.
What type of packages are you talking about? You're talking about packages, what, the suspicious packages like what, near the shooter?
Really anything, I don't have specifics on what they were looking at, but,
Things he brought with him, like what are we talking?
but you know, there's people in the crowd will leave bags as they're fleeing the scene like this. So any suspicious packages we have to treat as it may be an explosive device.
And then how quickly, really, this goes in, I guess, to the Secret Service, which we're not here to talk about, I guess, but when you guys jumped into action, all law enforcement, and were able to take down that shooter, how quickly did everybody jump in and who ended up taking him out?
So it was immediate, and we're still trying to figure that out. So we'll wait till we have more definitive information regarding that investigatively.
What about the person in the crowd? Do you have any information about how they were killed?
My understanding was it was from the shooter, but again, those will be details that are released later.
Do you search homes or apartments as a part of your method of identifying the individual?
So if that's where the leads take us, absolutely.
Was Donald Trump hit with a bullet? Do you know for sure, or was it potentially something else that could have?
I don't have that specific information as far as the injuries to the former president.
I understand you're not releasing the suspect's identification right now, but as you know it, is this person known to you guys? Is he somebody that you guys have been looking at through the threats he's possibly made online, et cetera, et cetera?
Again, the information that we currently have, we're looking at that obviously very intently, and as we know that information, we'll release that as well. So we'll need to plan another time for a follow-up press conference.
Are you looking at surveillance video at all?
We're looking at all investigative leads and all everything from, and that's why we asked the public, because I'm sure there'll be cell phone video, there'll be all kinds of information that we'll use to fully flesh out exactly what happened here.
I know you're saying you can't say what type of gun it is, but do you know how many shots were fired?
I don't.
And
I don't have that information as far as, that'll come out in the investigation as well. So we have the 1-800 call FBI if you have audio tips, and then we set up a specific tip line for audio and video, and that's fbi.gov/Butler.
And they should send you just like any video? Like
Anything that anyone has that is related to this incident that they think may be of assistance investigatively, we'll take anything and we'll analyze it and we'll make the determination if it's of investigative value.
Can you tell us if they're...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So from what you've been briefed on, it sounds like law enforcement only knew he was up there until shots were fired. Is that what you're hearing?
So that is the assessment at this time. That
So are you surprised that a sniper was able to fire off a handful of shots at the former president? I mean,
again, we're still working through the security apparatus that the Secret Service had in place, what potentially happened. There's going to be a long investigation into exactly what took place and how the individual was able to get access to the location, what type of weapon he had. All that it is really days, weeks, and months
but how
of
surprised
investigation.
are you that he was able to get off like 4 or 5 shots?
It is surprising, but again, to get all the details of that will come out later in investigation.
Going back to the perimeter of this building, I think it's going to be really difficult for people to understand that this building with a very high vantage point, some 100 meters away from where this is happening, isn't part of that perimeter. What goes into that conversation over what is in and out and why wouldn't that be?
Again, the Secret Service really needs to answer that question. They conduct the initial site survey. They do the initial security assessments and determine where the different security locations should be, and they're the ones who are in charge of securing the scene. We, along with other state and local assets, are there to support the Secret Service and their mission.
How many troopers and agents were at the rally, obviously before the shooting, and how is that number determined, and should perhaps there have been more?
So I don't have the specific numbers
Was there an additional request for additional security from the Trump team, and was that denied in any way, shape, or form?
No. No, there was no additional request for security that was ever denied by the FBI.
What does the FBI do in these events? Like, what is your role?
So we showed up after the fact. We were monitoring the event, but it was once the incident occurred that we come and we take the primary jurisdiction for the investigation.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll, as we have additional information, we'll provide it. Thank you.
Thank you.